It's David Arquette, Dewey from the Scream movies, as you know. Remember, there's only one rule to surviving a horror movie, and that's subscribing to Craven Something Scary.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, visitors, subscribers, patrons, and Cravenites. Welcome to Craven Something Scary, where it's all horror all the time. Guys, we are here on a very special Sunday afternoon. And yes, it is an unusual time because I have a very special guest, and we are in very different time zones. And so it all makes sense. But you know what? I love doing these earlier streams anyway because, pardon me, a lot of my audience who's across the planet, other parts of the world, and this gives you an opportunity to be a part of these live rather than the replay mode. So welcome to everyone that is here. I see you all coming in, and it's great to see you guys in the live chat. This is going to be a very special day indeed. Sorry, I don't know what's happening to my voice right now, but we're going to get through it. Just want to say hi to everyone really quickly. I see you guys are here, and I appreciate you. And look who's joining in. Bill Perry, stuntman extraordinaire, who's been on for a long, long time. Bill, it's great to see you, my friend. And I'm going to be having you back on the channel. We've still got some more stuff to talk about from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and all the other Freddy movies. So Bill is with us here. Great to see you, my friend. And it's an honor to have you in the chat. And it's an honor for me to have my guest here today. And Carlos has agreed to stay for 1 hour with us today, which is really, really amazing. And you guys, I did a watch party a few days ago for the fantastic film Killer Book Club, the Netflix film. You guys know how much I enjoy it. I've been talking about that movie for, since I saw it. In fact, when I first saw it is when I said, I have got to try to get the director of this movie onto the channel because I was so impressed with it and it was so well done. The pacing, the cinematography, everything was just, in my book, I checked all the boxes, and you know, even the score, at the whole 9 yards. So I was really, really excited that when I reached out to him, he accepted the invitation, and it made my day. Let me just tell you. And of course, guys, you know I'm talking about Killer Book Club. There it is, and it is a fantastic. If you have not seen it yet, a fantastic whodunit slasher movie, and it's got all the elements you want, and that happens to be my favorite combination of genres is a whodunit and a slasher horror movie. So, as you guys know, Scream is my franchise, so you guys, this is right up my alley. So, guys, listen. Without further ado, I want to introduce the director of Killer Book Club, and you guys can begin sending in your questions for him now. Please welcome Carlos Alonso Ojea. Hello, Carlos. Welcome.
Hi, Hugo. How are you?
I'm so good, and I'm so thankful you're here. I really appreciate you accepting my invitation.
Stephen, it's great being here, really. Thank you, man, for the interest and the invitation.
Oh, absolutely. Pleasure is mine, and my audience is very excited as well. Again, we did the watch party a few days ago, and everyone, a lot of them was their first time watch, and everyone just really enjoyed the movie.
If I knew that you had this watch party, I would have joined you and you know, online. It sounds like fun, you know.
It is, man, because we get to interact, talk about the movie in real time as we're watching it. And so, and you know what? Hey, look, Carlos, we'll go ahead because we talked backstage a little bit. And so I'll go ahead and announce it to the audience right now that
Hmm.
Carlos has already agreed to come back for a watch party of
Oh
Killer
yeah.
Book Club. We're going to
Oh yeah.
do it, guys. And he's
Let's
even
do
going to,
it.
let's do it. And it's going to be so much fun. So we'll schedule it for maybe October. We'll look at the calendar. We'll get a date set and we'll have a watch party with Carlos and maybe even another guest or two may pop up. We'll have to wait and see, but
Let's see what happens. Yes.
we'll see what happens. That's right. Yes. Um, and of course, everyone is saying hello, Carlos, to you. It's an honor and privilege to have you with us.
My privilege. Always.
Very awesome. It's
And hey,
so
Jason, the nice one. I don't know who's the not nice one.
that's right. Same. Jason is definitely the
Let's
nice
hope
one.
you're too, the not nice one, the bad cop.
Yes, that's right. Yes. All right, guys. So here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead. Again, any questions are welcome for Carlos about the movie, and I've got quite a few here also that I'm going to ask, and we'll just go where the conversation leads us. And Carlos, what I'd like to do before we get into specifics of the movie, I would
Mhm.
like to just kind of focus on you first
Okay.
as a filmmaker, and I would love to know your origin story because it's always fascinating to me to see where people first realized I have a passion to be I want to make movies. This is what I want to do. So,
Okay.
can you kind of share with us how that started for you?
Sure. Sure. Well, I hope I don't get a lot of time of your show telling about
Oh
my
no,
background, but
no, go ahead.
I was born in Spain, as you know. I'm still here in Spain. Here in Spain, it's not really common to study filmmaking. This
Hmm.
is not like a really normal kind of career.
Okay.
So it was. I would lie if I told you that since I was a kid, I was going to, going to film school, or my desire was doing that, because it wasn't. I loved movies, of course. I was kind of a geek, kind of a freaky, but I didn't realize that that was something that could be done, studied, right? I had the
Hmm.
chance when I was 18 to go to Seattle for a year, and so I lived in your country for some months, and
Nice.
was an awesome experience, and also learned that filmmaking there, guys, is like something usual, common, and like just a
Hmm.
regular study major, right? So
Hmm.
for me, that was kind of shocking, and that opened my mind to study filmmaking back in Spain. I searched for a school in Spain, in Barcelona. It's called SCAC School. I joined it in 2008, 2009, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, you're seeing some pictures of my,
Yes.
students back in the past. Yes, and so I studied there for 4 years. I made some short films, which uh, gave me some festival selections around the world and some awards, and also had the chance to produce a teaser film, write some motion pictures, and
Nice.
long story short, I've done a lot of things before I had the chance to direct a movie. A lot of things. First big step for me probably was directing with my classroom mates
Hmm.
another slasher movie, which is called The Innocents, which
Hmm.
it was translated in there as April Fool's Day, which is also a
Okay.
slasher student film. Of course, it doesn't have so much resources, but it was shown in the Festival of Sitges, which is one of the big horror festivals around the world, as you know.
Yes.
And also it was streamed in on Netflix, actually in the USA,
Okay.
when Netflix wasn't available in Spain. It was, for us, it was like, we don't know what Netflix is. Imagine
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, and also it was released on DVD in weird places like South Korea, or Japan, or I don't know,
Oh wow.
Turkey. Yeah, it was something amazing. But that was a student film, but it gave us a little bit of audience and also a lot of experience while shooting, and
Hmm.
while what does really direct mean, what does a production of a movie mean. And and from that point on, we understood that it was possible, and that we loved also making horror movies. And since that, I've I don't know, I've written 3 movies, maybe 4 movies, which none of them has already been done because this one is not
Okay.
written by me. But
Okay.
at the same time, I was building myself a career as a director, a hiring
Yeah.
director. I don't know if that's the name there. Some director that you can hire for some screenplay that he has not written. And
Okay.
finally, the chance came when Brutal Media, the production company, was looking for a director.
Hmm.
I made pitches for selling short horror motion pictures. Also, Netflix in Spain kind of knew me a little bit because of that. And when the Brutal Media proposed me as a director, I had, to make some interviews, to make some,
Wow.
demonstrate what was my vision
Yes.
for the story. And luckily, they chose me finally. So that was my big opportunity, which now is already streamed.
Wow, man. How
But
did that feel?
long story short, it was a big journey. Big journey.
Yes. Oh, I can imagine. Because I mean,
Yes.
they're not just going to give the keys to a film to anybody. That's not going to just, no, no, that is experience. Everything you did was a stepping stone,
Mhm.
right? To get you
Yes.
to that point.
You
And
cannot even imagine how little stones can develop into something good or
yes,
bigger.
yes,
Because this
that's
all
right.
started in reality. This all started as me directing a commercial for a swimmers competition. So nonsense, you know what I mean? Nonsense.
Hmm.
But you do that work fine. You get another job. You get another job.
Yep,
So years
that's right.
go by. You get experience, and suddenly you are in a
Wow.
panel of directors, and it's happening. It's crazy.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
How did that feel when you got the call that
Hmm.
you've been hired, like you've been the guy, they chose you? What was that feeling like? Just let us know a little
I, I
insight.
I also teach filmmaking in the same university
Oh,
I studied since
nice.
5 years ago. So I was
Yeah.
actually teaching class, and my phone started to ring, and it was like Brutal Media, which is the production company, and this was like,
Yes.
okay, this is the call where I
Here
continue
we
to
go.
be, a teacher.
Right. Exactly.
Because you
But
never really think that they are going to hire someone who
sure,
has not directed in and alone a movie,
sure. Right. No,
but
yeah.
they were like, okay, you ready, because you're going to make it, and I was like, no way.
Ooh. Wow. So, did you get a chance to tell your students that day, or
No, no,
the
because
next
it was
day,
not,
or
this is not official till it's official. So
true?
uh,
That's true.
we had to I didn't really believe it. It's like
Yeah.
you have the, okay, maybe it's going to happen, but maybe something terrible like a pandemic or another pandemic. I don't know.
Sure.
It is,
Right.
so I was like making the class a little bit sillier than like, hello students, but I didn't tell them. I didn't tell them till it was really happening. Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow. Well, I'm so happy that you got the role because you did an amazing job. We're going to get into some specifics in a little bit. Um, and before we do that, though, real quick, my good friend Destin over at Destination Station says Killer Book Club was so much fun. Cinematography was amazing. Great work, Carlos. I hope we get a sequel. Yes.
Thank you, Destination Station.
Yes, indeed.
Um, Yeah, the sequel. The sequel is also one of the classics of slasher movies, right?
That's right.
Um, this story began as a book. So this really
Mhm.
in Spain. I don't know if it arrived there in the USA, but here
Oh,
first the
okay.
book, and the same writer of this book wrote the script because he's a very experienced screenwriter,
Okay.
and he's already written the second book. So who knows?
Oh, really?
For sure,
Oh,
you're going to have the second. I don't know if this is. I can tell that, but yeah, you, at least the book is going to be a reality. At least the book.
well, and one can hope we get the book. Yeah, we'll see, right? We'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll see. We'll see.
That would be amazing, amazing.
Yes.
Uh, and real quick, Jason the Nice One says, Carlos, I enjoyed the film so much. It was an incredible nail biter. The entire cast were incredible. I compliment you on your ability to pay homage without copying other films.
Mhm.
Yes,
Thank
that's
you,
true.
Jason the Nice.
Yes,
Um, you,
so
you like
true.
the cast? Oh, that's nice. The cast. We had a lot of work with the cast because we had. I don't know. You guys watched this movie dubbed in English, right?
Yes, dubbed in English. They have the English overdubs, so we didn't have to do just the subtitles. We got to actually hear the English, which was nice that they did
Yeah.
that. And
Did you notice anything funny with the dubbing or the images?
yeah, it's interesting because even though the words may not perfectly match, obviously with what they're saying, it wasn't distracting to me at all. Which was
Okay.
it was no, it really wasn't. It was you know, and in fact, I never even now that I think back, I've seen it twice. I
Mhm.
never felt like I was watching a dubbed movie. It
Mm.
felt very natural.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing is, Carlos, you know what these actors actually sound like when they
Yes.
talk, and it's probably a lot different than what we hear
It's a
in the
lot
English.
different. It's a lot different. They are
Okay.
having so much fun hearing themselves in so many languages because it's crazy how many languages the movie is available. So they can hear
Yeah.
themselves talking Japanese in, I don't know, Hindi, in
That's
Romanian,
awesome.
Italian. So that's amazing. Yes, that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. There was a technology that uh, was used with the dubbing, and they matched very well the
Yes.
language. So I guess in the version you guys are watching, which is not the version we are watching,
Mhm.
it's neat. I think it's neat the dubbing because I got some
Yeah.
friends from the USA sending me some recordings in English, and it was fun. And I was like, oh, this is a great work of dubbing. It sounds good,
It
and
does.
and the voices are great. I don't know who are the actors, but congratulations on the job.
Yeah,
I really
it's
enjoyed that.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Destin says the dubbing did not take away at all. I barely noticed it. I was so zoned in on the story. Exactly. That's how it was for me as well. You're so
Yes.
into what's happening, you don't even notice. It's not
Great.
their native language.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
awesome. We have a lot of dubbed films here because production in Spain is now getting bigger, but it's not so big. So we watch a lot of international movies, which are not, of
Okay.
course, shot in Spanish. And so
True.
many of the movies shown at the theatrical are dubbed. So we kind of it's natural for us to watch dubbed movies, and not always the leads are in sync. But
Yeah.
I guess you guys watch less dubbed movies because you have a huge production of homemade USA movies.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Right, right.
mainly, I guess that when some international movies get there, maybe not of them are dubbed; they are subtitled, I guess. So
Yes.
dubbing is not a great part of your visibility
Yeah.
mode, right?
Right. No, it's really not. the
Yeah.
majority of the foreign films that we do get are stay in the native language, and so we have to read the subtitles. Uh,
Okay.
but that's why it's so refreshing when a studio will spend the extra money to have the overdubs done, because I know that that's
Mm,
an expense. That's not cheap, I'm sure.
I
And
guess not. I guess not.
yeah, it's not. And I love it when a studio says, you know what, we believe in this movie so
Hmm.
much that we're going to spend these extra dollars that we don't have to, because
Hmm.
we want your viewing experience to be as pleasant and natural as
Yeah.
possible. And
Yeah.
so when I saw that Killer Book Club was in English dub, I'm like, oh, I'm really intrigued now. I was
Uh,
already intrigued, but this
do
is
you
good.
have the original version option? Do you have it?
I think so. Yes, I do believe
Okay.
so.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
That's
Now I should
something
do that because
also. Yes. Next, the third time you watch it, let's watch it in Spanish.
we could do that, because then we could actually hear the real actors' voices, like what they
Yes.
really sound like. You know,
Very different. Very different.
I bet that would be a little surreal. Like, wait a minute, that she
Yeah.
sounds different now. That's awesome. Um, yeah, and Cosmic Urgency said, I prefer subtitles to get intended performances, but I will say the dubbing was indeed done really well. I was shocked they hired great actors for the dubbing. I agree. And the voices they used, like,
Mm-hmm.
again, I've never heard the actors' real
Mm-hmm.
voices or anything, but the voices they chose, the actors, it felt like I picture her sounding that way, or
Yeah.
him. Like it matched to me, you know? It's really
Yes.
good.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with you.
Yeah.
The clips I watched, I was like amazed. Like, oh my god, they sound perfectly like if it
Yeah.
was his voice.
That's right.
I know it wasn't. I've seen the movie 100 times, but it felt natural. It was like,
Mhm.
do you think that they really will know that it's not shot in Spanish? So I guess with the comments that some people didn't really get that, and that's awesome.
Right.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. Good friend Sarah's here. Um,
Hi, how are you?
now, I want to ask you, Carlos. Now, what are your influences? Because I know you mentioned horror. You know,
Yes.
my channel name
Hmm.
is Craven. Obviously, Wes Craven we're talking about, as you know.
Yes.
Um, so who are some of your inspirations or influences when you come to watching films, or folks that really made an impact on you?
Well, I am a big horror fan, but not only horror fan. So I
Okay.
really enjoy a lot of genres. I
Hmm.
started by loving especially European filmmakers like Lars von Trier or Michael Haneke, which I don't know if they are famous there, but here they are important names, which are
Okay.
kind of not so much commercial names, but very interesting filmmaking. Um,
Okay.
I'm also a big fan of Fincher, of I don't
Mm,
know the whole thriller genre also. But
yes.
when it comes to horror, I do really enjoy Scream. I love Black Christmas, the original one, the one of
Oh,
I guess the 60s. It's the 60s, right?
74,
74.
1974.
Okay,
Yes.
24. Yeah, yeah, that sounds good. Which I guess it's a very witty and special movie, which changed
Yes.
absolutely the genre. Because which one is the first slasher movie of all time? You know, there's a lot of discussion about that. And
It's true.
for me, this one. For me, the real slasher, the real slasher, started there. I
Okay. Yeah.
I, I think so. I think so. It's Halloween. It's that. It's Psycho. I don't think Psycho is really a slasher. It's kind of a slasher, but it's not. Um,
Hmm.
but yes, Black Christmas was a big inspiration, and now I really enjoy also Fede Alvarez as a director.
Oh,
I guess he's great.
yes.
I mean, he's awesome. His camera work is amazing, and he is really passionate about the genre.
Yes.
And I don't
Very
know.
much.
Yes, I also enjoyed the last Fear Street saga. I took a
Mhm.
lot of reference from their cinematography and their tone. I like that, and also Blumhouse productions like Happy Death Day, also, which I think it's kind of a
Yes.
great way to give a twist to the slasher and
Mhm.
make it fun and make it slashers sometimes are a little bit gory and a little bit darky, and these ones are produced for a bigger, wider audience. Also,
True.
it's also Freaky, it's also a great movie.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Freaky is funny. I did a watch party for Freaky just last
Oh,
night. Just
no
last
way!
night. Yeah,
Really?
because I'm actually going to be interviewing Christopher Landon tomorrow.
Nice,
And
nice.
so we're going to be talking about Freaky and Happy Death Day and all that.
That's
So
an amazing two movies you mentioned there. Yeah.
yes, they're so well done, and I'm very excited that Christopher Landon now has been chosen to direct Scream 7. I'm really
Oh,
anxious to see what he's going to do. His
yes, because
fingerprint.
the couple last movies were incredible. So there's a big, it's a
Yeah,
big, how do you say it?
big shoes to fill, or what you have you like?
Yeah, like it's a difficult goal, to keep
It
that level.
is
Yeah,
very true. That's a lot of pressure. You
yeah.
take and
He's going
but
to make a
man,
great job. I'm absolutely sure about
yes.
it.
Now let's do this. Let's get into Killer Book Club now,
Hmm.
and and you've already kind of shared with us how the opportunity came about. You got the call. You did the interviews back and forth, and they saw your repertoire of work, your shorts, different things that you've done, and they were like, "He's the guy," and you got the call. So that was awesome for sharing that.
It
Now
was amazing.
here's it's absolutely fantastic, and I can tell you by the outcome of the movie, they got the right guy, and there's no doubt about that. You're the
We'll
right
never know.
choice.
We'll never know.
Oh, I think we know. It's okay. Your humility prevents you from commenting on it, but that's okay. I can. Uh, so let me ask you though, as far as the shooting. So when the brutal says, "Here's the movie," you've got how many days to make it now? I know they gave you a deadline. So what was your shooting schedule like? How many days did you have, and what was a typical day shooting the movie?
Well, the movie was. I received the call like in summer, and the movie was ended. The shooting was ended by March, April, I guess. It was like something like that. So that
Okay.
includes all the preparation. I had to move from my home place to Madrid, which is the capital in Spain, for
Mhm.
some months. Um, so it was an intense experience. It was, as I told you, like first time, and also
Right.
first time with all the big figures of the crew. They weren't my normal crew mates. These guys
Mhm.
were already in hired, or some
Yes.
were already hired, and I wanted that because I needed experienced people that could support me as a
Yes.
newcomer, right?
That's right.
So luckily, I got a great team. I mean, a great team. So we got along really well. We understood each other amazingly, and we made a really close bunch, and
Good.
we spent so many time together, working together, but also spending leisure time together. And
Mhm.
yeah, it was really a great experience. And so this took place in Madrid, Toledo, and Alcalá de Henares, which are three cities which are close to each other, but in the center of Spain. I come from
Okay.
Barcelona, which is in the coast.
Mhm.
And the shooting took place during COVID time. So I don't know you guys
Mm.
in January last year, because this was last year. Um,
Wow.
January in Spain last year was crazy COVID. I mean,
Oh.
COVID.
Yikes.
I don't know what were the measures there, but here they were strict, really. Um, so you had to, if you got a positive, you had to stay home for 2 weeks, which was
Yeah.
really, that was something really scary, man. Because
Yeah.
time and you made a test, which was really closely to daily. You
Right.
knew that something could happen, like this actor
Mm.
can come, or maybe the cinematographer can come, or whatever. Actually, I
Oh.
got COVID 2 weeks prior to starting the shooting.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Cinematographer
Woo.
also, because we
Yeah.
we contact, so we were at our rooms closed, uh,
Oh man.
fucked up, like really like feeling shitty about
I
everything.
bet. I can
And
imagine.
all the time at Zoom meetings, trying to keep
Mm-hmm.
the working going on. But
Woo.
luckily, at the end, even though we did have a lot of troubles with the COVID situation, we made it work. And it's really different to work during pandemic times than without pandemic times, and we don't even realize it. And when you watch a movie, you don't separate the ones made during COVID and the ones that are not.
True.
But only the fact that everybody is going with masks, it's another way of
Mm.
working. When you have
Yes.
rehearsals with actors, I watched the actors for the first time naturally on the shooting, because all the other times were with masks. So that's crazy, man.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes. Just
Um,
take
yeah.
them off for filming and then right back
Yeah,
on.
for him, and for rehearsals, when they were together, when they are separate, it was okay. But when they were together, we couldn't. We were with the mask, and it was all very controlled, very serious. So it was that wasn't great. That wasn't great.
Ooh, wow. And you're trying
Actually,
to
yeah,
well, just and you're the director, so you're in charge of everything. So you're
yeah,
trying to keep everyone's spirits up, I'm sure, and keep
mm,
everybody focused. And
yes.
that's got to be challenging, man.
It was challenging. It was challenging for everybody. For me, it was, of course, but for everybody. And there's also a lot of scenes with a lot of people, as you could see in the
Hmm.
movie, where hundreds of people were in the shop.
Yeah.
So that meant a lot of testing, and that meant a lot of time invested in the testing, because time
Yeah.
is also a key word when shooting. So when you have to
Wow.
test, it's a lot of resources. Yeah.
Wow.
But that was for me
Um,
and for all the movies made during that period. So I'm just explaining this because
true.
I I I did really had a great time, but at the same time I was thinking, what would have been this without the COVID thing? Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yes. Can only imagine. Maybe if we, knock on wood, if we get the sequel, that things will be a little more laxed and it'll be more
Yeah.
normal. And,
Hopefully,
you can,
hopefully,
you can
hopefully.
hopefully so.
Uh,
Hey, real quick, we've got a super chat. Good
mhm.
friend Sarah sent in a $20 super chat to support the channel. Thank you, Sarah. That's so
Thank you,
kind and
Sarah. That's
generous.
awesome.
Wow. She says, "Thank you for being with us, Carlos. This is a treat. I was a little late, so you may have already answered this, so I apologize. But I read online that you also taught filmmaking. How does teaching compare to directing?"
Nice one. Nice
Yes.
one. Okay. Challenging one. Okay. So yeah, I, I'm still a teacher. This week I will teach again
Mhm.
in the next course at the same school. How does teaching compare to directing? Okay. Let me say that teaching is a great way to learn about filmmaking yourself.
Mm.
Um, you teach to the students, but when you do that, you learn a lot of stuff, and they don't know that. But while making the classes, yeah, let's keep it here.
Right. That's
But
right.
you are learning a lot, because when you have to explain how to shoot sequences, how does the narrative laws work. You are also explaining it to yourself, and you want to be clear, so you have to study them very closely and understand them to the best point so you can teach them. But that means that you are having the knowledge clearly. And I realized this during the courses, that every time I made a course, I learned something that I had to learn to teach it, but at the same time I was learning it. So
Yeah.
teaching is awesome. For it's great to have students with new ideas, with passion, with very freshy energy, and to get actualized, it's the correct word, of what is going on in the in the cinematic world. And also uh, directing and teaching has in common that you have to inspire people to work together, to study in this case, and to encourage them to get the best thing out of them, of the crew and of the students. But you also have to be a little bit I don't want to say controlling, but you have to put the limits, and you have to be to be strict in some ways, to push
True.
hard, to push a little bit
Yes.
hard on the people, so they will they will get the best out of them. I don't know. They
Yeah.
really work, like get them motivated, like understand
That's
that
right.
they are doing something that's important, that they are, So that's kind of
Yeah.
something that shares between teaching and directing. Yeah.
It's awesome. That's a great question, Sarah. And Sarah says, "Thanks so much. Such a thoughtful answer. Very nice."
Great
Yes.
question. Great question. Yes.
And thank you, Sarah, for your support of the channel as well. That's so kind of you,
That's
my
right.
friend. Now, I just kind of want to ask this question because you are a director, but you also write. You have a
Yeah.
writing talent as well. So, how does that combination mix together when you're making a movie like Killer Book Club, which was written brilliantly by Carlos Miranda?
Mhm.
But you still have that writer in you. Was there freedom given to you where, like, when you're filming this, maybe the script says something here, but you're like, well, maybe I can tweak that a little bit and do it this way? Was that something that was permitted, or were you pretty bound to the page?
I mean, we had with Carlos Garcia Miranda, we have now a big friendship. We worked
Nice.
close to each other for many times. The screenplay that I was given was draft, I don't know, 300,006. So it was a very
Oh,
very. I'm kidding, but it
right.
was something that it was very thoughtful and very worked. So there was not really a space
Yeah.
for rewriting a lot, not to even a little. Very few things were rewritten because it was working, and also I was there to make that visually interesting, not to make
Yes.
the story better because the story was great already. So that
Hmm.
was not what my what my mission was. We did have some I don't know, maybe some dialogues that work better in another order maybe, but the story, if I gave you the screenplay that was emailed to me for the first time,
Hmm.
you wouldn't even notice the a big difference. It was not. It
Okay.
was something of a daily routine, like in this dialogue, maybe it's short, we need some more dialogue, or maybe the other way, but it's not something like no, we really need to change the beginning or to change that wasn't happening at all because it wasn't needed.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's when you know you've got something that's going to work. And I think that comes across on the screen, man, because again, it's refreshing. It's a refreshing slasher whodunit, and it's original. It pays homage to like scream in different ways and different, but it's never in like Destin said earlier, you never feel like, oh, you're copying Scream, because they're not. This story is very much its own, and I think it's great when you have a film that is aware of its genre and it's aware of who it is, and you can pay it homage to an iconic film here and there. Just a little
Mhm.
tip of the hat. That's all it is, and it's really cool. You know, I think it's great because it's a respect thing. It's like, we respect the shoulders that we're standing on of who came
Yeah,
before us,
that was
and I
important
love
for me.
that.
Yeah, that was important for us, and thank you for this, because I don't want to people or the others to get mixed up, like we are
Hmm.
trying to impress,
Right.
or to try to you know get the attention for something that is not ours. I mean, for
Right.
us,
No.
it was very clear that we were making homages to the movies
Yeah.
that we were growing up with. Uh,
Absolutely.
so so it's not about it's obvious that we are
Yes.
getting inspired by so many slashers, and they even say it in the dialogues. So it's
Hmm.
not something that we are like hiding. It's like it's
No.
pretty clear. It's out in the
Yes.
air, and that was fun for us. That was a big thing in Miranda's screenplay, and he is really a fan of the slasher movies. He's seen them all, and he has a lot of respect for the genre.
Yes.
I also, of course, do. But sometimes people can get mixed up, like, oh, but this is like kind of a Scream, but with a clown. And yes, I know it is. It's made on purpose, and that's the funny
Yeah.
part of it.
Right. Exactly.
There's some scenes that kind of resonate with the, I don't know. Faculty is for us the inspiration for our introduction of the characters. There's no doubt
Hmm.
about it. We are not copying.
Yes.
We are just
Exactly. Yes.
making it. We are making it in the Spanish way. That's it. We are making the
Yeah.
same thing, but in a Spanish location with Spanish actors and with Spanish dialogues. And that was what was motivational for us. We wanted to do that
It's
in a
great.
in a, from that respect, always from that respect, but knowing what we were doing and being kind of sometimes ironic about it, but never a parody about it.
That's right. No. And it always felt like what you said. It never felt that way. It was always like very, you could tell that, you guys are respecting these films and you're giving a little nod to them, but you're your own thing. Like this is your own movie, your own story. And I just love that because as a diehard fan and my audience here who we're super fans of these movies, we pick up on them like right away. And it's like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, hey, these guys
Yeah,
are all right, man.
yeah,
This is good. Uh,
awesome.
I love that. Now, I do want to also ask you, in terms of filming the movie in general,
Mhm.
was there a particular scene or sequence in the film that proved to be very difficult? Maybe even harder than you thought when you started filming it.
Yeah, there were a couple scenes were very challenging. Well, all of them were challenging because when it's the first time, it's always a challenge. But obviously, the book parade, it's called the book.
Okay.
Fire. How do you call it? The fair, and the book
Oh,
fair.
fair. Yeah,
The
yeah.
book
Book fair.
fair, right?
Yes.
Yes, we had to
Yep.
build the book fair, and
Ah.
yeah, it's built, and but it's not like enormous. Maybe there
Mm-hmm.
were 12 tents, but we wanted them to look like huge. So that was a challenge to understand how the shooting had to be. So the audience never is really aware of this space, and it's kind of confusing in the good
Mm-hmm.
sense, in the sense that there's a lot of people going and coming, and they are lost in this sea
Yeah.
of faces and heads and everything. But
That's
it
right.
wasn't that big, it's all a camera trick.
Uh-huh.
And trying to make that work was challenging, also for the COVID obvious reason.
Yeah.
Fire scenes are also very challenging. When there's
Oh, yes.
real fire, it's amazing how many things you need to have in the set so it works and it's safe and it's no problem.
Mhm.
So yes, those were also challenging, and also for me it was a little difficult to imagine the protagonist introduction in the
Mhm.
university, because we didn't have a university. The university we are showing in the movie does not really exist as a university. It's a mix of
Ah.
three different buildings, or four different buildings in different cities. So
Mm.
we wanted to make the introduction as smooth, like kind of
Mhm.
playful, and looking like it was just a building with its
Yeah.
entrance, its hall, its stairs, but none of that really exists. The entrance is one place, and the city next door is the cafeteria, and
Yes.
so we had to get to a point where we drew a map of what our university was and which part was in reality and which part was in the fiction. No? So that was challenging.
Yes.
That was fun also, I
Wow.
have to say.
Yeah, I bet. And it's
Yeah.
funny when you say that because again, you never know that. Like watching it, you
Hmm.
would think it's all one location. And it's
No way.
just so mind blowing how you edited it. And it's all put together in a way that it's
Hmm.
natural. You can't even tell. It's
I love
so
that. I love that tricks that you don't notice, and while you're filming, you're thinking, "Oh my god, they are going to notice," and then you watch it and it's like, "No, it's okay. I think it can work." For
yeah.
example, another thing that's fun is that in the library scenes there are two libraries, right? The ones
Hmm.
where they are talking in a group.
Hmm.
There are the one with the shelves with the
Yes.
scary scene and all. Well, it's the same library. It's exactly the same. There's no two libraries. It's one single
Okay.
library. We build the shelves later. So when Angela
Ah.
goes out, she has to enter at the same library when the shelves are built on. So, it's this kind of stuff that makes it uh, this kind of good design decisions that makes it work, and I think it's fun
Yeah.
to explain when you don't notice.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah. No, no, it's not noticeable at all. That's so neat. And what I love about this information too is like when we all go back and rewatch the movie again,
Hmm.
now we know some of this stuff. We're gonna be like, oh, I know what's going on here, even though we can't tell, but we'll know. And that's pretty cool, man. That's having that
Yeah,
knowledge. That's
I
awesome.
always love to watch making ofs of when the DVDs were.
Yeah.
I always watch the making ofs and getting to
Yep.
the tricks and these kind of things. So yeah.
Yes. Well, Destin also has a question for you. He says, what's the inspiration with the look of the mask and costume? Was it something that was already picked out prior, or did you have a hand in helping with the costume choice
Hmm.
for
Well,
the killer?
everything that's related to the costumes and the mask, and also the locations and the dressings and colors and art was all supervised by and created by Marcos Keito, who is the production designer, who did an
Mm-hmm.
amazing job. Also in collaboration with the cinematographer, who was Pablo Diaz, which is an amazing guy, and professional, of course. So
Yeah.
the mask was not designed prior to this to the screenplay, or to when I arrived. There was no mask. There was not even a
Oh,
costume.
wow.
No. There was no. So I told them that I didn't want a clown mask that was like the market that you could buy in the sense of very disgusting, clownish
Hmm.
kind of the Terrifier thing, that's fair
Right.
if you do that, but I didn't want to go that way. I wanted to go the opposite way of terrifying, or this
Yeah.
gruesome, scary faces. I wanted to have a face that you could draw, that a kid could draw, very
There
very
you go.
simply. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is very simple mask. It's kind of a emoticon of when you, what's the name of this in the WhatsApp, when you put an icon, no? So
Oh, yes.
I wanted him to have long hair,
Yep.
because
That was
it looks,
interesting.
yeah, it looks great when they move. It's like,
It
wow,
does. It's like
yes.
waving. I'm like, that's cool. And I
I
love
was
the wink. Was this your idea? The wink. I love the winking eye. That's like
no, that was not my idea. No, this
okay.
design was made by a designer, which was hired to make different masks. So one of
Oh,
them is
okay.
this, but he was also working in the relation of our, rules. Let's say rules. It's not rules. It's just inputs. So yes, no, I didn't really get the blinking, but then I thought that's awesome, because this clown is two clowns at the same time. In the left side it's one clown, in the right side is another clown, and if you've watched the movie, that makes sense, right?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. So also I wanted it to be a black dress, because it's better for the hiring thing in the darkness.
Yes, indeed.
Scream
Yes.
shows us that the black dress is important for horror working,
Yes.
and that's obviously taken out from that teaching lesson from Scream, and we had to get a fluffy dress, not a very tight one, because if not, you would notice if it's a woman or if it's a guy, or if it. So you have to think
That's
about all
right.
this stuff, which is
Yes.
to make it credible. Also the gloves, so we don't see the hands. Also the shoes. He's not wearing shoes. He's just making a cover of a color, plastic cover of the shoes he's already been put on. So it's very easy and
Wow.
quick to change. So it makes sense later when the guys are, dressing up and not dressing up. You would think, no, you cannot put that costume in 30 seconds. You can put that costume in 30 seconds.
Wow. Dang.
That was a big thing for us. We didn't want crazy, impossible costumes to put on. We wanted it to make sense that, like, it's already gone. Yeah.
Wow. And that's cool because, and I remember like there's a scene where, and I'm about to get into the chase scenes in a minute because man, they're so good. But there's the scene where it's in the what's it called, at the fair. They're at the book fair, and she runs because she breaks the phone, and she runs off inside this building, and of course the killer's there already looking up at her, and they do this great chase scene around it. Well, at the very end of the chase scene, and I'm not giving any spoilers away, I love what you did. You did a great job of teasing us because all of a sudden the killer, whoever it is, starts to turn to the left and takes the mask off, and right as it's about to reveal the face, they move out of the camera lens. I'm like, oh, you're playing with us, Carlos.
That's it.
I love that though. It was great. It's like,
yeah,
man.
I think it's playful. I think it comes with the genre, and I think it's the whodunit rules that you want to know it, and it's like for a second I watch it.
Yeah, it's so good. I was like, oh man, because in fact on the watch party, everyone that had not seen it before were like, oh, and they're like everyone's anticipating, like, oh, we're about to see it, and they're like, oh man, I'm like, that's right.
Reaction we were looking for, so that's great.
Yes, it's perfect, man. I love that. Now, let's talk a little bit about the chase scenes because even on my second watch, when I already knew everything that was going to happen, I found myself still getting stressed out, knotted up with this intensity,
Mhm.
because these scenes are so well shot and executed.
Thank you.
And I'm telling you, you did an amazing job. I kept complimenting throughout the watch party how great these chase scenes are. And so I'm just curious, Carlos, when you look at that script and you're seeing, like, help us understand, does Carlos say, very extensive details of the chase, or is it just, she's chased through the building and killed, and then you take that one sentence and turn it into what we see here, or is it a mixture of the two?
Well, let me say that Carlos Garcia Miranda, the screenwriter, also had an opinion of who the director was going to be hired. So he also, I think he read the visual memory and watched the visual editings that I sent. So he said,
Mm-hmm.
"This guy is. I want this guy because he's going to make chasing scenes. Because one of my
Yes.
major things on the memory of the visual directing memory was that slasher means running, and we have to make these characters run a lot. It was
Yes.
written in the screenplay, but you can direct it in many ways.
That's right.
It's obvious that in the screenplay there was a lot of work put on the description of the chasing.
Okay.
But later, sometimes this gets shorter. I mean, even in editing, later they can get shorter. But I enjoy watching slashers that the people run for their lives, and it was a major, major, major thing for me. And I'm very grateful that you enjoy them because I really put a lot of effort in that sense.
Yes. Oh, well, and that's the thing too about these chase scenes that really jumped out to me, is that none of them feel rushed. It's like you're really taking your time, and they cover a lot of territory, like the physical running,
Mm-hmm.
and it's they don't feel like they're super quick or trying to get to the kill too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, I find when I watch it that it just continues to build the tension. You're tightening the screws tighter and tighter the longer you draw that scene out. And
Mm-hmm.
so that when the kill does happen, it's very satisfying payoff.
Yes, you need to grow it, because if it's just death, 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 it's not so much fun. I think it's a big part of the fun of watching these movies, the
Yeah,
preliminaries of what is going to happen, if it's really going to happen, because sometimes they live,
that's
sometimes
true.
they die. So
Yes,
the enjoyment of this. Of this chasing, it's important for the genre itself, and for us as
hmm
filmmakers also. It was really fun to make them, and the
yeah.
actors were exhausted because they had to run. You don't know how many times they had to run a
Ooh.
lot, and in top, like, no, you
Ah.
really need to run. It's not like, it's not jogging. It's not jogging. You
Right.
have to run for your life, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, they do, man. Like, I noticed that, like, it's not like a half-hearted kind of run where you're always gonna know. No, they're like hauling, man. They're
Yeah,
they're going.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
They are going sport ways. Yes.
That's so good. Now I
Mhm.
have to ask you,
Yeah.
as you make the movie and you look and you watch the final, version, do you have a personal favorite chase scene in the movie, or attack scene that's your personal favorite you like the most?
Um, it changed. I have a two couple moments that I am really satisfied with.
Okay.
I really like the chasing scene that you mentioned in this botanic place, because
Yes.
it's not a common location to make in a scary movie, a botanic place,
Mhm.
and I think it gave us a look that it was kind of unique in some way, and at the same time it worked as a scary scene.
It did.
So yeah, I think that one was a good choice, and it kind of makes sense. Also, it was a bright daylight time, so
Yeah.
it's not, it's like,
That's right.
of course, there's a lot of horror movies made at daylight time, but this kind of chasing at daylight time with a lot of people outside that don't notice what's going on. So it makes sense. It made sense,
Yes.
and I think it looks good. The green, the trees, and the mixed with the horror and the clown and everything. So yes, also
Yeah.
yeah. I also liked, because it was not really thought, the part where Angela goes through the balloons before entering
Oh,
the.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh, that's creepy too, man.
yes, that's kind of itish, and I
Mhm.
really liked it. It wasn't really. I don't know if I should say this, but this was like a call from our production designer, like, you have I have 100 balloons, make something with them.
That's awesome.
Like, oh yes, let's make something with these balloons. And
That's great.
yeah, I like that, because it's playful, but it's an emotional scene, and it's a
Yeah.
messy, disturbing moment for the protagonist. So
Yes.
yeah, that looks funny. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh, I love it. And then of course you have that moment where Angela's trying to get, out, and the door's chained up, and then they're facing each other at the door right
Mm.
before she's killed,
Mm.
and it's that frustrating moment that no one can get that door open,
Mhm.
and the clown's coming,
Uh-huh.
and then all of a sudden, well, let's just say we see red, and I'll say no more. At that point, we know what's happening, and
Yeah.
so, but yeah, it was one of my favorites for sure as
Yeah,
well.
that was also a fun camera work, because as you can see, it's always moving. He's between the two glass doors, and
Hmm.
he was, like you are right now with a headset. I was
Right.
like, right, left, and it wasn't working. So I thought of a making of that I watched of Damien Chazelle's La La Land, and I said, oh,
Okay.
let's do it at the Damien Chazelle technique, which is you put yourself in the back of the camera and you start, like this, and he's going, and that's the way we made it work.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yes,
That's awesome, man.
that's great.
Um,
It was so fun. Like, right, left, right. Yeah.
so cool.
Yes.
Now I know we're getting up on our hour here, and we're over our hour now. So I'll start to
That was
wrap
fast.
up for us. It went by so fast, I know. Um, so I've got just a couple more questions, if that's okay. We'll kind of start
No
to close
problem.
it down, and I appreciate that, man. Um, I'd just like to know, in general,
Hmm.
two things. So it's like two sides of the coin. One side of the coin is, what was your favorite aspect of making this movie? And on the other side, what did you find the biggest challenge to making the movie? So your favorite, and then most challenging overall.
I mean, my favorite, it's, I think it's clear for me, because I get to make a dream come true, which is directing
Yes.
a horror movie.
Yes.
And you don't really realize it while you are making it, because it's all, there's a lot of things going on all the time. But
Yeah.
I remember my first day, my first shooting day, my first shooting day. I remember exactly which shot we made.
Hmm.
And I remember going in a cab to the shooting set, and I had, like, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes from the place where I was staying to the set, and I put some music in the cab of when I was, a teenager. I was like, this is happening, man.
Wow.
this is great. So
Yes.
it was a beautiful moment. Yes, it was. I was alone, so I could, just
That's
kind
right.
of, yeah, kind of take a moment to understand that this was going to happen. So that was great.
That's so
And
cool.
yeah, and the challenging thing is also that I don't know. Making a movie is like war at sometimes, even with
Mm.
COVID, it's even worse. And I had a great team, but you have a lot of pressure also, and you want to make it work, and you want it to function, and you want the people to
Mhm.
be happy and to be motivated, and to to work together as a family and as a friendship, and and I think we managed to do that.
Mhm.
We managed to do that. I mean, we did, but you know, uh, it was hard sometimes. Sometimes it was hard because the the amount of things going on for a newcomer like I was. Sometimes I felt like I didn't have the experience to face it,
Mhm.
and I had I was the director, so you expect
Right.
a lot of things from this role. So that was kind of challenging. I have to say
Mhm.
that they put everything very easy for me, really very very easy. I know that if they didn't want me to continue making this movie, it was going to be so easy.
Right.
Like he's not working, man. You need to
Right.
change the guy. So they put it easy for me, and when I didn't know how to react or how to solve some of the issues that comes with a production like this, um, they faced it, making it easier for me, and I will always be
Yeah.
grateful with them.
So you felt like you were set up for success by the studio, by everyone involved, right? They have
No, no, no,
the gate.
absolutely. They put me a supporting team, a very supporting crew,
Yeah.
and when you are in the business, you learn of some crazy shooting sets or some crazy productions that they want to kill each other or something, right?
Right.
There's a lot of
True.
trouble sometimes. Yes,
That's right.
there's
Yes.
egos and there's
Mhm. Yep.
erosions, and it's normal, it's human, and a set is
Yeah.
stressing. So that was a fear for me that I hope I'm not
Yeah.
getting into that kind of um, atmosphere. That was very
Yes.
important for me, and luckily, they were all very loving and very supportive, and I made very
Yeah.
simple questions because I was a noob in this world. But at the same time
Yeah.
they knew that, and I wasn't there because of my experience. I was there for something else. And when everything was clear, and I made it clear from the beginning, like, hey people, this is my first time, so
Mhm.
uh, anything stupid that I say is because of that. Please teach me what I don't know. And that was it. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's a very humble attitude to have, and I know that like if I was working on a film and the director like yourself would say something like that, that would make me respect and want to work hard for you because because you're humble and that you're here to make a good movie. And that would make me want to do all I could to make that however my role was,
Hmm.
whether it's food service or if it's props or if it's whatever, or actor, would
Yeah.
want to do my best to help you get that to make that thing. And I think that's awesome, man. And I appreciate that about you because this is a successful film. You could easily come in and be like, I'm the director. You know, yeah, we're gonna do things my way or the highway, whatever. And I know those types are out there. They're
Yeah,
out there,
I guess there are. I
but
guess there are. That's not my style. It's not my style.
no,
I mean, sometimes you
no,
have to put the hat. I also have to say
yeah,
you that sometimes you have to put the hat, and and I'm
sure,
saying this. Trust me, I'm the director. I know why I'm telling you this. It's
sure,
not
sure.
about you. It's not about some conflict or whatever. Let's make it this way, please.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, you have to. I wanted the people to understand that I was there because I wanted to be to get the best out of the screenplay, always the
Yes.
best out of the screenplay.
That's
And
right.
I didn't come with experience, but I came with a lot of passion and a lot of attitude and a
Yes.
lot of work. And and that was what I could offer. I
Wow.
couldn't offer experience, you know.
Well, I will tell you this, moving forward, you can add experience now because
Yeah,
this movie was it is fantastic. And I again thoroughly enjoy this movie. In fact, uh, my good friend Destin here is coming back and saying, when I make my slasher films, I'll be taking inspiration from you, Carlos. I'm ready to watch this movie again. I
great.
know. I know. Uh, well, listen, guys, in case you weren't here earlier in the chat, Carlos has already agreed, already said yes to coming back. We'll try to do this in October. We're going to do a watch party of Killer Book Club again, but he's going to be on the panel walking us through scenes, and I can't wait to hear your commentary as we watch this movie. It's going to be great. Um, but last question I have for you, really, and then we'll wrap up right here. I promise. Is
Don't worry, it's okay. For me, it's okay. It's different.
okay. I want to be respectful of your time, because I don't want to overextend. Um, But I'll ask you this, Carlos. What advice, like Destin wants to make films, right? That's one of his goals in life. He wants
Hmm.
to be a filmmaker. So
Hmm.
what advice would you give someone? Because you literally have walked the walk. You've done it.
Hmm.
You had a game plan and you executed it. So what
Hmm.
would you share with others that were trying to do what you're doing, a similar path?
Well, everybody's got a path, and I don't think that my personal path is going to be useful to anybody else. And
Okay.
we are coming from very different worlds. USA
Sure.
market and industry is completely different from our part of the of you
True.
know of making this happen. Um, but you guys are in the best country in the world to be for a filmmaker. I mean, it's the dream come true in filmmaking as we
Yeah.
understand it, right? Um, I would I would say that um, that it's a very long way that you don't have to get low by rejection. This is very
Hmm.
important because rejection is part of this job. It is.
Yeah.
It always
Yeah.
is. Even now, I've made this Netflix slasher, and I've been rejected already of some of the screenplays that I've made, or
Man.
it's always a thing. So
Yeah.
you have to believe in your capacity of working,
Hmm.
and also be aware of what others are looking for, and also be humble about the opinions. Let's say that uh, not always we have the great gem under our arm. Sometimes
Right.
we do something and we think it's awesome, and maybe it's not that awesome. So,
True.
so you have to really understand what people are telling you, and of course looking of what things are true and what not. But this is important. And also what I've learned, and this is my personal lesson, is that there's no little job,
Mhm.
little hiring. Okay, even
Yes.
though if they hire you for some wedding video, I don't know, whatever,
Mhm.
that you don't know that can be an opportunity later. You don't know about it. So just
Yep.
take every opportunity as if it was your last opportunity to work on this. And for me that worked. For me that was
Mhm.
something that, looking now backwards, I see that like these little stepping stones that now make sense. It didn't make sense at all before, but
There
now
you go.
that makes sense. You meet somebody, he's, I don't know, he's a student now, but 5 years from now he's a producer. He was very satisfied with your work in some rubbish thing, whatever.
Yeah.
That kind of thing happen, and that kind of things take you to the next level sometimes. So it's important to be aware of that.
That's awesome. Great advice. And I love what you said at the end. You may not you may not be able to see right now what you're doing, the effect that's going to have in the future. Until you get there, you look back. And I think that's such wise words, man. It really is.
That's the reality I have lived, and I wish I was told before, because sometimes it's like, don't do that, don't take that, or why are you trying so hard for that silly whatever thing, Well, sometimes that
Yes.
silly whatever thing takes you to know, I don't know what. Yeah.
Yes.
No problem.
This is
Good luck.
yeah.
Good luck with your work, and keep it going.
Yes. And Jason says, thank you, Carlos, for taking the time to spend with us. You're so awesome. And I look forward to your future work. And thank you, Craven, for another awesome stream. Yeah, I look forward to your future work too. Now, Carlos, you mentioned earlier you've got a couple of things that you've written. You're kind of shopping around. Is there anything that you can share, like at this point in time? And if you can't, it's okay.
I cannot get into the real story, because it's
Sure.
none of them are officially out. So
Yeah. No, don't want you to do that.
We have three screenplays written. I mean, because I always co-write the stories. So we are now in this moment where we are trying to get financed. They are already sold to production companies, but at the same time we need to finance them. So maybe next year there's something scary to talk about again.
Yes, and believe me, I would love to have you back whenever you're able to talk about it more, and we can promote it here on the channel, get eyeballs on it, and get some insight from you. That would be amazing.
It's so much fun. So whenever, Stephen.
Oh, thank you, man. And Jim says it's been wonderful to listen to you tonight, Carlos. Another great interview. That's awesome. Thanks, Jim. Now, also, and Denisha says, thank you, Carlos. I enjoyed the Killer Book Club. Thanks for coming. Oh,
thank you. Awesome. Thank you for taking the time to watch it and recommend it to your friends so we can still
yes,
get
that's right. We want the sequel. We want the sequel, guys. We gotta keep watching the movie. Keep the streaming going. Netflix is counting every download, every stream. Let's keep it going because we want that sequel. We want that sequel, and we want Carlos to direct that sequel. So, yes, indeed.
Thanks for the support.
Absolutely, my friend. It's my pleasure, and it's our pleasure as a collective group here with the audience, and we'll continue to do so. I'll continue to share the movie out, and I'm recommended on my socials already. I'll continue to do so. And speaking of socials, Carlos, quickly here as we wrap up, do you have any websites or social media you'd like to share?
I'm horrible with that, man. I'm terrible with the social thing. I do only have the MDB because it's for professional stuff. But
Sure.
I'm terrible. I'm sorry. You don't know how many times they've. What's your Instagram? I don't have one. It's like I'm sorry. I think maybe I have to start getting on that, but it's so much time consuming, and I don't know if I.
It is. Trust me. You almost need to have someone to help you post and to really work it the way it's meant to be done. It's like constantly posting. That's how it,
Yeah.
it works. And
Well,
I don't have
guess
the time either, honestly.
well, I see that you are very unnatural with the streaming and the
Oh,
social media.
well,
I
thank
can
you.
see, I can see that. I guess that you reached me through the EMDB. I guess.
I did. That's how it worked. I was
Okay.
so thankful. I'm like, oh, I have a way to reach them. And so I
Yeah.
got to reach out to you like right now. And I sent the
That's
email.
that's like the
And
only way I have right now of reaching.
it's
Yeah.
all right. You're a
Yeah.
busy man. You're a busy man. So it's okay.
It's not because of busy. It's just I'm a little out of this stuff. I
Sure.
very much enjoy spending my time watching movies. So
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what? It's working for you, man. So I say don't change anything. It's
I don't
working.
know. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see that. Let's see.
Well, guys, this has been so nice. I want to thank Carlos. I want to thank you for joining my channel and me and our community. This has been a wonderful time. And
thank you for the question, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
yes, everyone's having a great time. And it's so awesome, the information you've shared, some of these little tidbits. We're going to remember these things when we watch it again. And
Yeah.
that's exciting. And we will be watching it again and with you.
Sure.
Maybe hopefully next month we can figure that out. We'll talk about it offline. But as I wrap up now, Carlos, you can just stay put. I'll meet you backstage in just a second,
Great.
so hang tight. For everyone in the audience, thank you so much for being here, for your super chat, Sarah, and everyone that's been a part of this stream, both live and in the replay, which will start up next. I do want to mention also real quickly, guys, just as a reminder, tomorrow on the 11th, I'll also be bringing in a very special guest. It'll be Christopher Landon, a writer-director of many great movies like Freaky and Happy Death Day films, Disturbia, Paranormal Activity sequels, and of course, he just signed on to direct Scream 7. So, guys, tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central, be sure you come back, and we're going to talk to Christopher. Have your questions ready.
Amazing interview we're going to have with this guy.
Oh, I'm very excited. Yes.
And please tell him. Please tell him.
Yeah, absolutely. I sure will, my friend. Well, guys, thank you all so much. And Carlos, again, I'll see you backstage. Hang tight. And
Great.
For everyone in the chat, we're going to go ahead, call it a stream. And thank you for staying another 24 minutes beyond what we had talked about. We really appreciate that, man.
Whatever. Thank you.
Okay, man. Here we go. All right, guys. See you all tomorrow. And I'll see you backstage in just a second. Here we go. Have a great day, everyone. See ya.
Hey, you have been watching Craven Something Scary. This is Lee Waddell, the original Ghostface, thanking you for stopping by and checking it out.